Solo musician or band, one gets better pay, a better cabin, and a faster path to the contract. And in this video, I'm going to tell you which one. Before we start, let me tell you why you should listen to me. I've worked on cruise ships for 4 years as a piano bar entertainer. I've had real partnerships with agencies and had direct conversations with agents about what they're looking for in this world. I'm literally the bridge between the musicians and the industry. I have seen both sides. In this video, we're going to talk about the real difference between how solo musicians and bands get hired, the pay, the contract, the cabin, and the stuff nobody warns you about. All of this based on actual agency data and 4 years of personal experience. By the end of the video, you'll know exactly what path gives you better conditions, better pay, and a faster route to your first contract. And there's one thing, a distinction most musicians have never heard of. And this really changes everything. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so if you've been assuming that maybe you need a band to even get started, stay until the end. The answer might change how you approach everything. Let's start with something that most musicians who apply on cruise ships have no idea about. Solo musicians and bands are not hired the same way. There are two completely different categories. You can be a contracted musician, which usually are the solo performers, and you can be hired as an employee musician, which usually are bands or musicians who are in the orchestra or in the show band. And this one difference really changes everything about what you get on the ship. Your pay, your cabin, your privileges, your status on the ship, and even your contract length. So who actually makes more money between a band and a solo musician, and what do you actually get with these positions? As a solo musician, you can expect to get between $2,000 to $5,000 all to yourself. You're also getting better privileges on the ship, your own cabin with a porthole, with a double bed a lot of the time, access to all passenger areas, and usually is not going to be longer than a 4 months contract. My first contract, for example, I got paid £500 per week. That was before the agency fee, so it was £425 per week. And I actually wish I negotiated a little bit more, because now I understand how solo performers are not only in demand, but really well paid on the ship. At the very beginning, I was really confused because I knew that I could play the piano, I could sight read as well, and I really wanted to sing, but I didn't know what pays better and what positions are the best. I didn't know about all the things I'm telling you now. So I also applied for the sight reading position, which thankfully I failed. Now bands can get between $1,000 to $3,000 per month per band member, obviously not for the whole band. The contracts tend to be a lot longer because it's really hard to place bands on cruise ships. Everyone needs to be available. You have so much less freedom in the musical side of things, of course, because you have to get other members to play the stuff as well. So you have a common repertoire. One of the big downsides is that you will always have to share a cabin, and usually these cabins are much smaller than they are for the solo musicians. And as you get the employee status, so on the cruise ship it will refer as the crew status, you get less privileges than contracted solo musicians. Now you might be wondering which one is actually easier in terms of getting hired. So you'll be really surprised about this, because you might think, wow, it's so cool to be a solo musician. Now maybe it's really hard to get into it and to get hired. Well, the truth is that solo musicians are always in demand. Piano vocalists and guitar vocalists, they're super easy to put on a ship. They cost a lot less money for the cruise lines because you only have one person to pay, and there's so much less logistics to handle than having to manage a full band with different nationalities. And so as a solo performer, you apply on your own. It's your videos, your availability, your decision. You don't have anybody else to talk to about wanting to do this. And as a band, every single member needs to get the same date, so they need to be available, they need the same visa and the same medical clearance. And the truth is that only one person drops out and the whole application collapses. And one last thing is that agencies have told me directly that bands are harder to place. So even in terms of the demand from cruise lines, it's easier to get hired as a solo musician. If this is making you think, hey, I actually really want to do this as a solo musician, but where do I even start? I'm really excited to tell you that I have done something. I have created a full course, which is called How to Become a Cruise Ship Musician, which is everything I know, the full process from building your application to getting your first contract offer. This course is made for solo musicians, but it also will be very, very useful to duos, trios, and bands as well. There is some information that might be useful to you guys musicians who want to apply for a sight reading position like in the orchestra or in the show band, but the course is not specifically made for this. It's more for solo musicians and partially for duos, trios and bands who also require to get the promo video, the song list, etc. This is the first time I'm talking about it, and it has just launched, so it is a special price and it will probably go up after the first 20 enrollments. So if you're interested, there's more information in the description. And now let's get back to talking about the part that nobody warns you about in this world, because we actually need to figure out what is it like on a day-to-day basis as a solo musician compared to being a band member. I talked about a lot of pros so far of being a solo performer on a cruise ship, but I do have to admit that there's one side of it that's quite difficult, is that you can feel quite lonely. You don't have anybody to share the stage with. A lot of the time when you finish performing, you don't have anybody to talk to unless you go to the crew mess, obviously, and talk to the other musicians. It is a position that can be quite isolating, and I myself have paid the price of this con during my 8 contracts. However, this downside also has some pros, which is that you have full freedom to play whatever you want, to own the stage, to pretend that you didn't mess up and just do a longer instrumental version of your solo, and you don't have anybody else's energies to manage. In terms of being in a band, I can tell you that as a solo musician, I've had friends who were in bands on cruise ships, and I felt jealous, like I really wanted to be part of their band at times because they were really clicking, they were friends, they were having fun, you know, they were having a really good time. On the other hand, it can really be hell if you don't click and if there are tensions in this band, because it means that every single day you have to perform with these same people, and I don't wish this to anybody. And I've seen real arguments on cruise ships from musicians who are in the same band and who just can't bear with each other. And that's the thing, you don't really have control on how good you will get along with the band members unless you know them really well and that you're applying with them. And so who actually gets the job? Well, solo performers definitely win. Better pay, better cabin, shorter contracts, easier to place, and you depend on no one but yourself. It's not just what I think, it's literally what agencies and contracts say. And so if you're a solo musician watching this, you truly have the advantage. Not only you have the position that most of the entertainment department on a cruise ship will envy, but you also probably have the best pay and privileges on the ship compared to the whole crew in all different departments combined. And so whether you choose solo versus band is not just like a vibe choice, it's a career decision. Are you actually ready to do this? Is this what you want? Because this is what matters at the end of the day. And if you feel like that might be the right path for you, I'd really encourage you to check out the course How to Become a Cruise Ship Musician. The link is in the description, and if I was you, I would really enjoy the early launch price, because the ROI is actually insane if you even just get one contract. This is literally everything you need to start in thinking about a contract, to actually doing everything that's in your power to get it and to have the confidence that you did the right things. I truly wish I had this when I first started. I post videos weekly on this topic, helping musicians land cruise ship gigs. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and let me know in the comments. Are you a solo? Are you a group? Are you a musician hoping to get a sight reading position? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them and I will definitely reply to you. So thank you so much one more time for being here, and I'll see you next week.